we are live in all the spaces we need to be. So yeah, we are. So of course, I don't know. Something happens when I get into. Hey, something happens when I get into. When I go from like extremely cold temperatures into warm, sunny temperatures. It's like
it's a mood change.
it truly is. It truly is. So. Hey everybody, it is Talk to Tameka Tuesdays, and haven't seen you guys in a while. I think I had missed last week, but there's so much going on. So hopefully you guys are doing okay. I tell you, every time you turn around, when we thought 2020 was a mess, here comes 2021, and it's like, wait a minute, I ain't no punk, so let me give y'all some more COVID. Let me give y'all some storming at the Capitol. Now I'm going to give y'all crazy weather in Texas and shut it down over there. And I'm like, don't anybody ask any more questions about what else can happen. Don't even say it.
Don't even ask. No, it can get worse.
Yeah. And so this last about 30 days or so, 45 days, I've been really working on different things where, because what I'm seeing right now in the market, in the real estate market, is that there's so many people jumping in to be real estate agents. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if a massive email went in and said, hey, everybody call all your friends, all your cousins, everybody go get a real estate license. Because now I'm seeing real estate agents who shouldn't be shouldn't be aligned to be a real estate agent in that area of the business. And I think it's because they don't know enough about the other things in real estate that they could be doing. Mm-hmm. So they just flock right to being a real estate salesperson because all of their friends or they got to some recruiter or somebody else has said, yeah, go get a real estate license, with people not understanding that part of you getting a real estate license and joining up with a lot of those firms, it's part of their business model. Mm-hmm. They know that only 1 in 10 agents are going to make it. So if they can make money off the other 9 for 2 years until they realize this is not the thing, then they've succeeded in their own business model. So people are not going to have that real conversation enough. And so, of course, that's why I wrote the book. And then that's why I had you guys come in as the newer agents coming in and saying, hey, here are my niches. Right. And I want to talk more about our niches. So that's why we created the 114 Ways book, so that people could do that and also understand you don't need a license for everything. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm excited about March, because March, for those who aren't paying attention, we have three different trainings, or 4 actually, but 3 that are geared toward things people can do in real estate that don't really require for people to have a license. And so one of the first things I got into was property management. And because you're coming in soon to even talk and go in deeper. And that's the one thing I noticed that some of the ladies were saying is that when they went to your class, they got even deeper into areas and ways to make money in property management side that they didn't know about. And so right now, as we are coming out and people are, it's like, okay, well, how long is this moratorium going to last? And what's going to happen? Guys, I want to tell folks, if you're not paying attention, it is the caps are going to be blown off of our industry in every which way. So it is imperative that you guys find a niche to kind of settle in on and just get going and, grab that money. I said, where the money reside? It resides right here. So, in March, that's all we're talking about is where the money resides. And one of the things is property management. But Maisha asked you to come on because I had made a statement probably 2 weeks ago about there being opportunities within property management. So whether it be a leasing agent, a showing agent, all of these different things, some of these things require license, some don't, depending on what state you live in. And so I wanted you to just talk to our audience about not just everything that you're covering in class. We don't have time for that. But just as you sit, and let me go back, because as you sit, where are you?
Right. So I am actually in Panama City Beach. I don't know if you can hear or see the ocean water behind me. Oh, the lighting is bad. There it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So where I am actually focusing on for my property management side of things is vacation rentals. And really trying to get our feet wet, or really soak our feet into the vacation rental opportunities that are along the Panhandle. It's not just Panama City Beach. I mean, we go all the way down the Emerald Coast of the different properties and opportunities to manage rentals down here. And it's honestly, I would rather, even though it's a little bit more on the income side of things, the opportunities that are there. It can seem a little bit intimidating at first, but so was property management when I started on the long-term side, and just kind of watching to see how things are going on these moratoriums with these landlords that can't handle it, and the way tenants are actively fighting and trying to change government policies to work in their best interest, not the property owner, the tenant's best interest. I'd rather just go and collect money from them when they go on vacation, as opposed to trying to manage it long term in their own house. They have a totally different mood when they're on vacation.
Right. That's the one thing about when you are, it's the same tenant. Right?
Same tenant. Yeah.
Same tenant. They're just so happy to give you their money on the front end.
Exactly.
Go smile in the sun.
See the place.
And go smile in the sun, or sit on the balcony like you're doing, like, you know, and do whatever they want to do, have a beer. They're just very happy to give you your money.
There you go. Yep.
As opposed to, fighting with tenants. And what is some of the stuff that, like you just mentioned, policies and government policies and things like that are happening? So I know you're very focused, because of course you're in NARPM, and I don't even want to throw those out without giving you opportunity to tell what that is. So if you can tell people what that is first, for those who've never heard of it, and probably don't even know you well enough to know that you're so deep into that association.
Yeah, so NARPM is the National Association of Residential Property Managers. They are about 7,000 members strong, have chapters all throughout the country. They are really focused on those managers that deal with single family, small apartment units. Because of course, with the larger apartments, you have the apartment association and things like that that manage on that end. But it's really the smaller people, the smaller properties, the single family houses is who the man that manages those type of units that this organization focus on. So I took on the role of being the 2021 chapter president in Kansas City, because the chapter, although it has a lot of members, not a lot of people are active. And when you're watching the city passing laws that clearly didn't include anybody in the industry to give their side of what this would look like and how this would impact the city, you kind of want to be more involved in understanding why these policies are taking place, why things are changing, and see if you can be ahead of them. Because on the national side of things as well with NARPM, I'm also on their government affairs committee, and just really looking at the things that are changing for tenants across the country. I mean, I'm even hearing now that they're looking to implement a universal rental inspection protocol on all rentals across the United States. And so when these things these policies are changing, you want to be in the know on them, because you have to figure out how do you adjust your business, or if you want to remain kind of in that industry. So NARPM has been very instrumental in staying involved and staying active, but it's not enough active people, or really enough people in property management to really be that voice. When you hear things about rentals, all you hear is landlords, tenants, landlords, tenants. Well, don't forget the property managers. We're the people in between that can kind of tell you, okay, yes, this is how tenants are behaving. Yes, this is how landlords are behaving, but we're the one that actually knows the rules knows the laws, knows the things that are actually happening on the ground that can tell you, eviction moratorium, that's great. But honestly, the only people that are taking advantage of that are the people that wasn't paying their rent in the beginning. So all you're doing is allowing these tenants to continue to stay in these units and not have, and not ever pay. They're basically living for free. They have no intentions of paying because they wasn't paying before. Those that are truly losing their jobs and can't pay their rent are being given the assistance and are taking advantage of the rental monies that are coming in. So what we need more of is rental assistance money, and not legislation that tells us we can't get the rights to our property back when someone's in there basically not paying and at the same time tearing it up.
Right. So that organization, like most associations and organizations that people, whether they volunteer to serve on or are members on, you can kind of go right to the source and get a lot of that information. So for those folks who are listening and you're always like, I'm a volunteer somewhere, I'm going to do this, okay, volunteer within the niche that you're in so that you really can take advantage. Remember, you guys will always hear me talk about strategic, volunteering and things like that. And that pretty much means if you're going to be in the space and that's where your business is, volunteer in those kinds of groups, which can help your business overall, not just your, personal profession and make you feel good. Because, a lot of us just like to give back. So give back strategically so that it helps you and the community and, the profession and whoever else it is that's on your, piece there. So you said you're doing that. This is all in Kansas City, but now you're here and you're at the beach.
Yes.
And maybe because it was -1 when you left or something like that.
Came to frosts. I was cold.
So have you found other NARPA members at the beach?
Yes, that's one of the things I did even before I came. I reached out to the Florida State chapter, found all the people here that are active in a chapter in the Panama City Beach area, make my appointments for the week, and basically said I'm a fellow president or a fellow NARPA member. I actually own condos down here as well, and just kind of want to come and chat with you guys, have coffee, have lunch, just try to figure out how the market is down here. Because of course, at the beach, you have people that want to live long term and short term, and I want to know how those property managers are managing both, or if they're even managing both. Some may just manage the long term, some are just managing the short term, but just kind of get it ahead of how the market is down here in Panama City and the type of owners that are down here looking to do short-term rentals.
Right. So for those folks who didn't catch that, she's not only doing the information and getting the information for work-related stuff, but also her own personal properties. So I know sometimes in our groups, we have people who ask about short-term rentals and should they buy and that kind of thing. Like I know you own a condotel on Panama City Beach and that kind of thing. So coming from a professional standpoint, guys, there are questions that she's asking to get to know. And then also from a personal standpoint, because it's her property. And so when you're looking to decide if I'm going to invest in Panama City Beach or invest in Miami, it's so great for her to be able to pick up the phone, call up a few people who are in Miami versus in Panama City and compare. Because as I'm sure, for those who aren't familiar with Panama City Beach to Miami, the laws and rules and how you can
different,
rent and who you can rent to and long term and short term are totally different. Even down to, can you Section 8 your rental property out for long term and all those kind of things. So very, very different. The markets are so different from beach to beach, town to town, city to city. So before you guys go out and do that, make sure you talk to someone. So as for me, the perfect example, guys, I'm never going to manage any of my own properties. I'm not good at it. So
it's very hard to separate the emotion part of it.
Because I'm like, pay the damn rent. Like, you can't live here. I don't want to hear nothing else. I don't want to hear anything in between. Just because I got to pay, you got to pay. I got to pay where I live. And this is a business for me. And this is how I make money. And this is how I feed my family. So no, I don't have the patience for people telling me they got to wait. And then I roll up to their house and I see that they've got 3 pair of shoes that they walking through the door with and all that. But my rent is not paid. So no, y'all, I'm going from 0 to 250 right at that moment. And so I probably will never get rent from those people. And so knowing that, guys, is knowing if this is going to be the right niche for you. If you know that you don't have the patience, or you take things personally, or what else would you say, Maisha? How would you know if property management is a good niche for you? And then here's the caveat. There's so many different areas in property management. So like, for example, if you're a leasing person, then you're just leasing up the property, right?
You're leasing. Yeah, you're leasing. You're pretty much really, as a leasing agent, you're the face of the company, because you are marketing the units for rent. So it's up to you to make sure that the units are marketable and that you're marketing and attracting the right type of tenants for the properties. So you're constantly out there talking to people. You're essentially a sales agent, more so a listing agent is what you are as a leasing agent, and then maintain those relationships so that, as soon as a unit is coming available, before it's available, a good leasing agent would already have it leased before the tenant moves out. And so that's with the leasing agent. And of course, on the property management side, are you going to be the one that's going to be the broker owner? Are you going to be the one doing the daily operations? I found that I can't do daily operations. I have to be focused more so on the ownership side of it to make sure the numbers are making sense, make sure we're attracting the right type of clientele and business. And then I also do well on the business development manager side of things. That is a new trend, not really new trend, but it's more popular now to be the business developer for the company, because many of your property manager owners and the property manager themselves don't have that sales experience in that time to be able to keep following up with owners. Owners need to at least talk to you, what is it, traditionally 5 to 8 times before they make a decision to even come and work with you. And even with property management companies, the ones that are attracting a lot of those clients are the ones that are constantly following up and calling and following up and calling, to attract those owner clients. And it does take a lot for someone to make that decision to choose you as a property management company. And then, of course, you have, the maintenance manager, the maintenance coordinator, the accountant, the bookkeeper.
Wait a minute, hold on. You just named like 10 different positions in property management.
But and just imagine some of these people, it's one person doing all of that. And I just don't see
crazy. That's crazy.
No way.
That's just ridiculous. And because they have not figured out that those things need to be separated, they're spending a lot of time and losing money.
Correct.
Because they're not able to really focus and have the bag come chase them. So you mentioned, can you give our audience, and guys, get your questions ready because we're not going to be here all day if you got questions, but can you give an idea to the audience on, just take 3 of those positions that you just mentioned. What kind of income, average income, could a person make in those? And I know this is it's really governed by your state whether these need a license or not. But if you can tell what those are. So amounts somebody could make. So if somebody's sitting here and saying, hey, I always thought about property management, but maybe I just want to be a leasing agent, what kind of money is that?
Yeah, so with leasing agent, the average income on that really depends, of course, on your market, but that can be anywhere between 50 to 100K. That's pretty much where I started in the leasing world. I strictly just focused on lease. As soon as that tenant moved in, I had no additional contact with them after that. My focus was just leasing the vacant units that were available. The beautiful thing with the leasing agent as well, if you negotiate your contract right with that property management company, you're not exclusive to that property management company, because if you lease everything with them, what do you have left? So you have to be able to diversify with other management companies to say, hey, you have vacancies, let me lease them, because all I get is calls from people looking for properties every day.
Right. So you could be out there telling people you are the $500 queen. Ring a bell.
Right, exactly. The $500 yes. If that's your market, you want to lease $500 units, do that. That's a totally different ball game, but hey.
I mean, that's a niche, and saying, hey, I am I am the beach rental queen. I find you properties, and or I am the Section 8 queen. I don't know, whatever it is that you can have your niche.
or
and
commercial.
all your commercials or
Mhm.
commercial, and then have all your commercials, your ads, and everything else saying, "Hey, just lease with me, come to me." And then all I'm doing is finding a place for those clients anywhere in that particular market.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm just out there just matchmaking people with
Basically.
properties. I
Yep.
don't have to call. I don't have to collect rent. I
Nope.
don't have.
I don't know if they paid after they moved in. Don't know.
So
They
that
qualified
right
when they moved
there.
in.
So, and that part of the business, guys, I used to love when I was younger because it fit my personality. I didn't have to have long-term
Right.
relationships with people. Like some of you guys who are listening in, you like having long-term relationships with clients and getting to know them. Oh yeah, now they're my friend and we go to church together. No, I don't want all of that. So that leasing piece is ideal for the person who wants to be a matchmaker to a property and get it going.
Right, exactly. And then on the other side, you have the business development manager, where your focus is the owners, matching those owners to the right property management company. You can negotiate those contracts with a management company as well, that you're not exclusive to just that management company, because I honestly don't believe one management company can manage all different types of rental properties.
Not all well, no.
Not all well, exactly. Not all well. I mean, there's some that will have quite a few of the different types, but to be a Section 8 property manager and then trying to do $1,000 rental, it's two different ball games, two different marketing strategies. But when you're a business development manager, which typically will help you out a lot if you're also a salesperson, real estate salesperson, because that's your clientele. You're working with the investors. You want to be able to send them somewhere for management and then still get paid multiple ways in that instance. Of course, if you help them buy a property, then you send them to the property manager, you get a commission on that end as well. And then when they're ready to sell, because of course it didn't work out, you're maintaining that relationship for them to call you back and say, hey, I'm ready to put this back on the market.
Well, let me ask you, Maisha, because somebody's going to ask later on. And guys, you can put your questions in. We'll see them later. Maisha can put the things in. If any of the administrators are in, go ahead and drop her class information that's coming up, because in your class, what other things are you doing and giving them information on that I know we're not going to cover here? So
the biggest thing for me is the streamlining your operations. And that's what I do heavily go over in the management class, is because there's so many different hats you have to wear starting off. You want to be able to have systems in place where you're quickly getting things processed and moving forward, whether it's from getting a new client all the way up to leasing it to that tenant, or leasing that property to that tenant and getting them all the way up through their full lease process of paying rent and having your income come in monthly, not having to worry about having to go chase people down for money, because rent's always due on the first. You have options to be able to pay it online. I'm even set up where they can go take their cash payment to a 7-Eleven and pay it there. That way you're not waiting for me to come pick it up or mail it in. And then if you don't pay it on time, you get your late fee, you get your notice, and then the eviction process starts if it ever comes to that. But the streamlining your business operations is the biggest thing that allows you to scale up and grow, so that you can hire virtual assistants for the things
so that you can sit on the beach.
And so I can sit on the beach.
I'm like, I know you got a whole team back in Kansas City that's free.
They're running. My lease agent's working today. We already got 2 leases signed for March 1st. My maintenance guy already took care of another busted pipe that we have that we just had. And then my property managers emailing the owners to collect the rent, helping tenants, get their rents caught up. And all I need to do is see the reports.
Gotcha. Somebody had a question here. I can't see who the Facebook user is, but it says, what about a salary range for a maintenance manager?
It depends on where you are. Your maintenance manager, I can tell you with my contractors that I've used, they've gotten upwards of almost $100,000 for me. Kind of bring them on staff. Honestly, it'll be about $50,000 to $60,000.
Cool. This question says, I have an interest in management of short-term rentals as well. It's from Latasha. Not sure where I should start.
I would say probably just start with where you are to see if your market you're in is a good market for short-term rentals, Airbnbs, and then contact some of the owners that you know of that are doing those short-term rentals and just ask them if they're happy with how things are being managed.
Yeah, because I know for me, as soon as I buy a property, well, before I buy the property, I'm looking for a property manager. I don't care if the sooner they can get the calls and the messages from other people who want to check in, check out, maintenance, the better off I am. So like tonight or tomorrow, whatever, we're looking at a whole bunch of properties. But I'll come live and show you that. But if there's not a property manager already identified, I don't want it. So one of the things as you guys are looking at opportunities in property management is to go ahead and go after owners and say, hey, I can provide these services so that they can then buy more property. Like a lot of times, owners, if you come with all the systems and things in place, investors will be like, well, cool. They just want their money to move for them. So if you bring if this is what you want to do and you want to do short-term rentals, and somebody came to me and said, hey, I can take on and manage all your 5 short-term rentals, I'd be like, and how much do I have to pay you? Let me go get 5 more because I was getting some, but I didn't have a property manager in place because the owners really don't want to deal. A lot of them don't.
No, they don't.
A lot of them don't want to deal at that level with the checking in, checking out, and all. I'm not saying all of them, but a majority of them, they're normally off doing something else.
Correct. It's just another kind of passive income for them and having to handle the day-to-day operation. That's what's different, a little bit different for the short-term rental is that every day it's something you have to do with that property because your check-ins and check-outs and your maintenance and your cleaning crews and making sure everything is prepped and prepared for your next check-in. Whereas short-term rental, they move in and hopefully just once or the first week of the month they pay the rent and we're good after that.
Or the first week or whenever they're doing 2 days or whatever that is, and you're getting your money quicker and all that other kind of stuff, and on short terms, especially here at the beach, they're ranging anywhere from 18 to 40%.
Right. Yes.
A
lot higher.
Guys, if you didn't hear me, 18 to 40%.
Yes.
Is key for the property managers. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So, I mean, everything, the last 2 things we talked about, there were salaries in there from 50 to 100,000, 100,000 easy for maintenance. I can see someone as a leasing person making upwards of 100,000 if that's all they did and they focused and they use social media and all of those kinds of things without having to do a sale. Because here's what's going on, guys. There are more apartment buildings being built right now than there are single family houses. Okay. So that's what's telling me on the property management side, you got more investors who are buying and doing some things, but the amount of apartment and multifamily units and things like that people are focused on, that's growing at a much higher rate than single family residences. So that's what tells me that, okay, folks need to really start looking at that property management side. And it doesn't have to be the collecting of rents. It could be, let me set up your systems that you, the owner, can have your people get, make their payment at the 7-Eleven. Like just knowing how to put all of those in place, there's a fee for that. Okay, guys. So that's what I want you guys to see is that there's so many different ways within property management. And I know working with Maisha, when I first heard her telling me I'm like, they're going where to pay rent? Because here we are. When I left office, people were coming to the office to pay rent. I leave her alone for, I don't know, 6 months or something. And she's like, oh no, they don't do that anymore. And this was before COVID. I'm like, where are they at? She's like, oh no, they go to 7-Eleven, some other places she would CVS or whatever. So that in itself, guys, is a service that you could take under your wing and charge owners to put that together for them. Because again, guys, remember, a lot of owners of these multi-units and things like that, they're not tech savvy.
No.
They're not bringing these new systems and new things to the forefront. So that is a way for you to do that. So
and there's lots of new technology coming to property management every day.
Right. What's the latest one you've seen? The latest one you've researched?
The latest one I've researched is going to be they're assisting tenants with their utilities, getting them turned on in their name. Now, that service is free to both the tenant and the owner. So I'm like, how are you guys making money on that? Oh, well, we also upsell them on internet, cable, Ring cameras, Google Nest thermostats, Google Home, that kind of stuff. I said, oh, okay, got it. Yep.
Yeah. So it's all the upsells.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That they're doing. Got it. And I guess if you dig deeper into that, you can find even more stuff that's on there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So right now with your property, what you're doing in there, how many income streams do you have within the company?
So we have...
You don't have to name them all, but just average. Because what I've been telling people, because there's a lot of people saying, I'm going to go get my broker's license, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And normally when I'm coaching them, the first thing I want to know is how many pillars of income are you have coming in. If your only pillar of income is that you're doing sales, traditional sales, and then you got property management, and you got one way of getting money there, you're doing such a disservice to the company that you should have identified at least 5 income streams coming into your company.
So we're at about 6 now with that, because we are doing multiple different things, and then we're also adding in kind of that sales component as well, because we're noticing that with some of our tenants, they are becoming homeowners after they move in and been with us for so long. So if we notice the tenant's been with us for at least 2 to 3 years, we'll have one of our agents reach out to them, and then offer that referral for that person for them to be ready to buy.
Okay, cool. I'm going to put this up here for those folks so that you guys can see it. There is a link for Maisha's course coming up, and that's 2 days, correct?
Yes, it's 2 days. Mm-hmm. It's 2 hours each day.
2 hours each day. Mm-hmm. And they have a little homework they have to do. I seen that.
Yeah.
And if I was you guys who are there, whether you want to do short-term rentals or long-term, it's really going to go back to, guys, for sure, your technology, automating your systems, getting outside of your box, and really so that you can live a lifestyle where you're free and the company is not running you, that you're running the company. That's what's key. That's what business is all about, is you being able to not have to be a slave to it, that you can get up and move around and the company will still be able to run. That's what I tell people all the time. You don't really have a business until you can step away from the business and it still runs.
Exactly.
And in order to do that, you've got to have automation. Yeah,
you have to implement those systems and don't be afraid of it. Even I remember when implementing the whole nobody coming to the office. What inspired me to do that was because, again, another property manager through NARPM that I met, he charges his tenants $20 to come to his office and pay rent. And he told me the reason behind that. And I was like, that does make sense. And of course, it took me a minute because I was like, we have tenants that, they're not good with technology. They don't understand online. And I was like, you know what? No, we have to do it. And so we just went ahead and did it. And you see how quickly they adapted once we told them it's $20 if you want to come in to pay.
Right.
When they come in, they're talking about everything.
Sharon, who attended your class, I didn't want to not see that.
Hey, Sharon.
The class was really good. So, yes. And I know Sharon does some property management and, that kind of thing. And so, guys, if you're looking at expanding into that area, you might want to hit up Maisha
Yes, I tell it all.
And what's really cool too, though, guys, is because it wasn't that she learned a lot of this on her own and getting connected. And some of you don't have the time to make this and study this level and go that this deep into property management. But this was all she did for years was her niche. So she had to study it so she could do what? Master it so the bag could chase her. And so she can catch you guys up to all this other stuff she's doing within property management and how she uses those other broker licenses she has on property management, and all of our different relationships and that kind of stuff. But I do want to thank you for coming by today.
Absolutely.
I tell people I'm only talking about where the money resides. Somebody else here says, yeah, she really does tell it all and gives you other ways to think about property management. Now, I know for those who are here, look out for the international sales agent certification, which is another way to make money without a real estate license. I'm doing the housing opportunity training. That's a NAR training that I added, of course, my pieces into. That's coming up that I'm doing. And that's all about how do you create more housing to put on the ground and other things other than just trying to go get a listing. We got to think way past trying to get somebody to give us business and do something different. And so that's what that's all about. And of course, our wholesale class is coming up, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that's going on, guys. But keep in the loop. And Maisha, thank you very much for taking out, your 40 minutes from your beat time. Because I know you over there working on.
Yeah, working.
We're staying at because we don't know if her husband and the kids are watching.
Right. This is a work trip.
You're on a balcony. Right. Not saying you can't be working. But thank you guys for joining us here, and we'll be posting this in the group. So Maisha, thanks, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye-bye.